Hello everyone, intuitive and astrologer Lisa Salvatore here to talk to you about the Sagittarius full moon that we have taking place on May 23rd. First things first, please like, share, and subscribe as it really helps me to grow my channel, and also you will be kept aware of new uploads as they come out. Subscribe to my newsletter, linked below right here in the description box. I also offer weekly detailed astrology and energy forecasts, which you can receive by becoming a subscriber to my newsletter. And also, my May through August 2024 forecast is now available for download and purchase. I will link that in the description box below as well, so you can check that out. It is jam-packed with some great insights and information. Okay, so let's get right to it. We have a Sagittarius full moon taking place on May 23rd, Thursday, May 23rd. And, you know, all full moons, all signs, all energies have their place. Sagittarius is probably one of my more, I don't want to say favorite, but I really do love the sign of Sagittarius because it is so expansive and it is typically so optimistic, and it really encourages us wherever we have Sagittarius in our chart, because remember, we all have every sign in our birth chart in our lives, even if we don't have planets there. Don't forget, you can always go and download your free birth chart right on my website, lisasalvatore.com. I'll link that below in the description box as well. But if you don't already know, you're going to want to check the part of your chart that contains Sagittarius so that you can set some intentions here and also look toward what you can release to help you to grow, to expand, to see the bigger picture, to live more in your truth, because these are the themes of Sagittarius. These are the energies that Sagittarius is all about. Sagittarius energy is always looking forward toward the future and looking forward towards where they want to go next, the next adventure. They're on a quest and they have a thirst for knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. There's a very strong teacher and philosopher within Sagittarius energy. And Sagittarius energy typically looks forward with optimism. So these are all energies that we can really embody around this full moon. And another strong thing to focus on for you personally, by where Sagittarius falls in your chart, falls in your life, or just in your life in general, is about the bigger picture, about aligning yourself with where, with whom, and how, the direction that you want to go forward. What is supporting you for your future self? What is helping you to align more authentically to what it is that you truly desire? Sagittarius is always seeking and learning more. So this is where we really are looking toward expanding our horizons. Sagittarius is also the sign that rules over long distance travel. So around this full moon, really focus on all of the good that you have in your life, all of the good that surrounds you. Inhale the positivity and exhale the negativity, because there's enough of that going around, right? We all feel it, both personally and collectively. So first, I'm going to show you the chart of this full moon and talk about the astrology and the energies. And then we're going to talk about where this will impact you by your sign. Here's the chart for our full moon. It takes place on May 23rd, 9:53 a.m. Eastern Time. And here we see the sun at 2 degrees and 55 minutes of Gemini in an exact opposition to the moon at 2 degrees and 55 minutes of Sagittarius. This is how we have a full moon. It's when the sun and the moon are 180 degrees apart from each other, opposite. Full moons are always going to pull up strong energy. It's going to always pull up and pull a focus onto the opposing energies in our lives. It's the head versus the heart. It's the ego versus the soul. It's the personal and the professional. You get the gist. That's what a full moon is going to always pull focus onto, the opposing energies. This full moon connects strongly back to the new moon that we had that took place on May 7th, the Taurus new moon. So reflect back, if you can, on what you were trying to manifest, what you were focusing on, what you were vibing on, because around this full moon, something might come up that shows you what needs to be released to continue you forward on that positive journey, or what will be revealed to you are the next steps. This is where journaling comes in handy, even 2 or 3 sentences per day, because I don't know about you, but I have a really bad short-term memory. So sun in Gemini, moon in Sagittarius, this is mutable energy. This is very active. This is very flexible. There's a lot going on. It's busy. This full moon will be strongest for the mutable signs, which are Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Virgo, even more so if you have any of those points or placements between 0 and 4 degrees of those mutable signs. Again, Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, Virgo. And also if you have earlier degrees of fire placements, Aries and Leo. You will likely feel this full moon that much more strongly. Okay, so there's our full moon. Up here we see Venus and Jupiter exactly aligned at the 29th degree of Taurus. The 29th degree, that is the critical degree or the anaretic degree. This is the turnover point. We are very close to being completely immersed in Gemini energy. But the flavor of this full moon, it's trying to get us to stabilize, but to also recognize where we need to change in order to grow and to move forward. This is very supportive energy. So it's really important to tap into what feels abundant, what feels right, what feels good, but also within reason. We have to be careful not to overdo it with these energies because there is the potential to get carried away. We also have Neptune over here at the 29th degree of Pisces. So we've got 3 strong placements here at that last degree, the critical degree. We have Venus, we have Jupiter, and we have Neptune. But these feel abundantly positive right now, okay? And I use the word abundantly because Jupiter is the planet of abundance and expansion and optimism. But he also has a shadow side, which can be greed and gluttony and overindulgence. But we're going to focus on the attributes here of Jupiter because Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius, which makes this a Jupiter-ruled full moon. So there's a very strong forward-thinking and optimistic energy that's present, but it's busy. Like I said, there's a lot going on. Important to mention that we have powerful planet Pluto over here at 2 degrees of Aquarius. And yes, Pluto's retrograde, but Pluto is supporting this full moon. Pluto is sextiling the moon and trining the sun, which is lovely. Pluto is always going to inject whatever he touches with a little bit of extra oomph, a little bit of extra heat, and like another card in the deck. But because this is a softer energy, it can feel deep, it can feel intense, but it can also feel very emotionally rewarding and liberating, mentally rewarding and liberating. And again, we've got Venus and Jupiter up here at the 29th degree of Taurus, and they're pretty close to the sun and in opposition to the moon, which is just a nice energy. It's looking to fill our cups is the best way that I can describe it. But of course, we always have to co-create with this energy, right? We have to take the steps. We have to have the faith, another key word for Sagittarius and for Jupiter. We have to have the faith, we have to believe. This full moon is high energy. I know I've said that a few times. It's high energy, it's high volume. And when I say that, I'm saying that at more of the spiritual level, the high volume piece. Because with Jupiter at the 29th degree, with Venus at the 29th degree, and with Neptune at the 29th degree, there's such a strong theme here that there is a much higher purpose to the order, to the divine order of what is happening for you right now and has been happening for you since May 7th, since that Taurus new moon. And there's also a very strong energy of surrender and acceptance to what was, acceptance to what is, and then thinking forward and vibing on what will be and what could be. Again, bigger picture thinking, full steam ahead. So a lot of this is going to feel very internal because it is very spiritually driven. And once again, just as a reminder to be careful about overindulging in areas that you might not want to, with that Jupiter-Venus at the 29th degree of Taurus, all about our creature comforts. And also it's about recognizing where we might be too comfortable, too comfy. Remember, Taurus energy can get stuck, right? And like I always say, the only thing that grows in comfort zones are complacency. So we want to watch out for being stuck in a rut and not moving with the times and with not being adaptable and flexible, because that's one of the strongest lessons of Sagittarius energy and Gemini, which is where the sun is. It's about being more flexible, being more adaptable, being able and willing to go with the flow more easily, to move with the current. Taurus energy can get stuck, and because Venus and Jupiter are at that 29th degree, it's like they're holding on for dear life, but change is imminent. The only constant is change. So ask yourself where you might be too cozy, too comfy, or holding on too tightly. Where could you afford to let go a little bit, to move with the tides a little bit, the ever-changing energies? And again, you're likely going to feel this in the Sagittarius area of your life, aka of your birth chart. Embrace change so that it doesn't happen to you, but it happens for you. Or the 2 and the 4 work together more comfortably by getting uncomfortable. So this energy is really pushing us out of stagnancy, or at least it's trying to. Because we're still dealing with strong Taurus energy and we're at that critical degree here, the 29th degree with Venus and Jupiter in Taurus, spiritually and emotionally, it's important to, be vigilant, pay attention, stay aware, but also financially, because we're dealing with, again, Venus and Jupiter at the critical degree in the sign of Taurus. So stay grounded. Don't be lazy. Don't be stagnant. Don't be afraid to make the necessary changes to help you to move forward. Take a chance. Leaps of faith are very pronounced under this full moon. And now let's go through the signs. I always suggest that you follow your rising sign for more accuracy, but you can absolutely follow your sun sign and also pay attention to your moon sign. You're definitely going to get deeper insights this way. All right, Aries. Around this full moon, what could be illuminated for you is your dedication to your own growth. This new moon is taking place in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign just like you. It's confident, it's bold, it dares to move forward and make moves, and it ruffles feathers where and when necessary. And you may have to ruffle a couple of feathers around this full moon. You may have already done so as you move towards your future, your destiny. The North Node's been in your sign. So there's a very strong energy about doing what's right for you, but also maintaining a healthy connection to the impact of what it is that you do and how it affects others in your life. You might be really looking forward toward the future right now, planning a trip. Perhaps you're embarking on some new form of education, or you're just receiving insights and downloads regarding these areas of life. But now is the time to move forward and to let go and grow. If you're a Taurus rising, this full moon might bring in a lot around the areas of your own personal nature, your deep emotional, psychological patterns, the relationships that you might be still stuck in or might be stuck in a certain pattern within those relationships. This is definitely a full moon that's focused on helping you to recognize and kind of like bust you out of a rut. And if you did work with the Taurus new moon back on May 7th and set some intentions there, pay attention to what has transpired in your life, in your intimate relationships since the beginning of May, because you're gonna get deeper insights that way. But this is all about growing with the parts of yourself that might have been dormant for quite some time, letting them have their airtime. This is how true intimacy is formed. It has to come from self first. Gemini rising, this full moon is going to light up the relationships in your life for better or for worse. So if you've been stuck in dynamics that are no longer serving you, you're going to get a push in the right direction, hopefully, around this full moon. Something's going to be illuminated for you. Information is likely going to come to you, communication that you've been waiting on, communication that you've been seeking. You're also being guided to really use your voice, but to remain very mindful of how what it is that you're saying is affecting the other party or the other situation. You could also have some new relationships coming into your life. Jupiter's about to enter your sign and bless you for 1 full year, so enjoy it. You're gonna have a lot of opportunities in the area of relationships, and this is relationships of all kinds. But first, you have to recognize and really be mature about it and let go where you know you need to let go. Superficiality will not do here when it comes to your relationships. Cancer rising, this full moon is pulling focus onto your everyday life and what you need to shift here to bring you forward towards your purpose, towards your desired and or determined purpose. If you've been feeling stuck, this full moon's gonna really amplify the areas that you are stuck in. So you're going to likely feel very frustrated around this full moon. You're probably already feeling it, but there's growth in there for you. So make a vow to release those habits, those everyday habits that are not working for you, that you know are not working for you, and that are not conducive and constructive to your relationships. How are you not standing up for yourself, and where are you afraid to stand out? This is all going to come up for you under this full moon. Leo rising. This has the potential to be a fun full moon for you, but if you've been having too much fun, it might not be. If you've been cruising along without much thought toward others, if you've been very much in your ego and not really thinking of your effect on the other people in your life, on your family, for example, your people, then you may find that too much of a good thing does have consequences at this full moon, and something will be revealed to you that precipitates some form of change on your end. Now, on the other side of that, you can recognize where you need to have more fun, where you might need to let yourself go a little bit, live a little bit more, take some chances. I don't want to encourage gambling or anything like that, but this is a great full moon if you're a Leo rising to take a little extra chance. Buy that lotto ticket on the way home from work. Bet on a horse, whatever it is. This full moon's encouraging you to take a gamble, but with the caveat that if you have been overdoing it, I'm not speaking to you there. And you should know, it's personal, right? You'll know if this speaks to you and how it speaks to you. This full moon could also highlight something surrounding children in your life, or where you may need to let yourself out and play a little bit more, let the inner child out to play. So it's a great full moon for fertility and conceiving if you are Leo rising. Little side note, Virgo rising. You are being shown the patterns, the psychological and emotional habits and patterns that have been holding you back, or the ones that you've been hanging on to too tightly and defining those as your story or as your truth. You're ready to let that go. You're ready to move on and to write a new chapter or a whole entire new story. Some of you might even be looking to move, like physically move, to purchase a new home, to move to a totally different place altogether. And the Sagittarius full moon is really supporting that. Again, bigger picture. What is going to serve your future going forward? Financial, emotional, spiritual. Libra rising Communication is going to be really pronounced at this full moon. You're likely going to be involved in many conversations with colleagues, with friends, with family members, and you're going to feel challenged about your own expression, about the way you're expressing yourself, because you're going to likely feel frustrated because this full moon is definitely pressing a button for you. And it has to do with the ways in which you have not felt seen or heard or understood or supported. So if you can take the feelings that might crop up around this full moon and make a vow to be more authentic and expressive with your communication and not just saying yes where you want to say no to keep the peace, you'll likely see things progress forward more positively for you. Be in your truth. Scorpio rising. This full moon is pulling focus onto your financial world and your spiritual world. How do you value yourself? How do you connect to your own value? How do you connect to what you own, to what you have, and how do you connect that to your value? This is all going to come up around this full moon for you. It's likely already been coming up for you. This is about connecting more deeply to self and about what feels right and what feels good for you and to you. What helps bring in the spiritual value versus the material value. Because yes, they are connected, but you're going to recognize where they might be disconnected or where they have been disconnected the last little while. Do what you love and love what you do. And there you will find the true value. Sagittarius rising, this full moon is lighting up your very sense of self, your very essence. This is all about you. This is about positive expression. This is about the most authentic expression of yourself, of your soul, setting intentions, moving forward, making a vow to live the good life. But of course, being mindful of what you're doing along the way and throughout that process, being careful not to overdo it. And in areas where you have been overdoing it, you're going to feel compelled to pull back a little bit and to set some new boundaries. This is great. You're releasing a lot of behavioral patterns that are not serving you. And you're gaining a new sense of self-worth in the process. You're recognizing how resilient you are and how far you've come and how much more you still want to do. Capricorn rising. This full moon can feel emotionally, psychologically, and maybe even spiritually like you're, I don't want to make it sound dramatic, but you might just feel not like you're drowning, but just like, I don't know, like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Like you just don't feel like anyone understands you. This is actually a good thing. You are being encouraged to go into soul solitude or have like a little bit of a spiritual retreat to allow yourself to pull back from the real world for a moment in time around this full moon. I know Capricorn is all about the work. But you're being asked to really go inward and reflect and retreat on what feeds and soothes your soul. Not your work, not what you do out in the world, but this is more personal. This is a great time for meditation, for deeper psychological and spiritual work. Maybe you want to start to learn to read tarot cards, learn some astrology, more spiritual side. So go there. And that's where you'll find the peace at this time. Aquarius rising. You may have a little kerfuffle in a friendship or in a group that you're a part of, especially if it's an online community. You might find that somebody comes at you with something and you're surprised by that. You could be completely taken aback or off guard. Perhaps you're the one that brings this to someone's attention, although I do feel like it's likely coming to you. It's being revealed to you. Something's being illuminated in regards to a friendship or, like I said, a group that you're a part of, a community. And it's not bad. It's just something that you might not be aware of. Like, oh, I didn't realize I hurt that person's feelings. I'm not saying you have to care, but I'm just saying that, you know, Aquarius has a very strong ability to detach, which I think is amazing. But in this situation, something's going to come up that you probably won't be able to detach from because the other situation is not going to allow that so easily. So again, I do feel like something's being brought to your attention and some new guidelines could come forward from that situation. So some sort of kerfuffle. And this might already be ongoing. So you might already and likely do already know what I'm referring to. So just know that there's going to be likely a continuation of the story and then a closing of the chapter so that you can rewrite the next one. And last but not least, for our Pisces rising, this full moon can make your professional life feel a little bit chaotic, but I think this is actually constructive chaos for you because it's showing you what is not necessary for you to continue on with. It's trying to show you what can be released for healing and for growth forward, but you have to be in a space to receive that and to recognize it. So you're being asked to really tend to the bigger picture here amongst the chaotic emotions you might be experiencing or attachments that you might be experiencing. And I do feel for most of you, this does pertain to your professional life. And even if you don't have a typical job per se, it's about what you're doing out in the world. It's about what you're known for. It's about your reputation. And this could also be piggybacking off of your home life, okay? So again, a lot's going to come to light for you about where you are currently and where you want to be for the future. And if you're not on a path that is going to take you to where you truly want to go, that's going to become very, very obvious to you at this time. So it can feel a little chaotic, but there's constructive chaos here. This is going to bring you toward change. And that is all 12 signs, my friends. So be sure to reflect at this full moon, to contemplate, maybe journal a couple sentences about what is coming up for you, what you're feeling, how you're feeling. And this is about recognizing and releasing that which is no longer serving you, mind, body, spirit. And we always want to do this lovingly, right? Okay, again, lisasalvatore.com. All my links are below. Take really good care of yourself, and I'll be back soon.